Hello there and welcome back to another episode of the Coach Harris Show. Thank you so much for taking a listen today. Before we get into the topic, which you know from the title of this podcast, I want to talk to you about a free trial that I'm offering right now for my online fitness coaching. This is actually the first I've talked about it, just beginning stages, just something I am experimenting with. So I'm only going to mention it to you, my awesome podcast listener. What this is going to look like is a free 7-day trial of online coaching with me. In the past, I haven't offered anything of this sort because I didn't see a way that it would be feasible and make sense for me or the person on the other end, right? But I figured out a way that I think could be very helpful for you and make it well worth it. So what this 7-day free trial would look like if you signed up today or at any point in the near future is we would chat via email. We would go through a couple basic things to get a background of what you're challenged with right now with your fitness, your mental strength, physical strength, anything and everything that I talk about on this podcast. And then we will exchange WhatsApp phone numbers. All right. I'm specifically using WhatsApp and email for this trial. And what you're going to get is basically me in your pocket for 7 days. If you have a question, if you have a challenge, if you have anything you want to chat about, ask about over audio or video message through WhatsApp, we can do that for 7 days, as much as you want. I'll get back to you on my normal business hour schedule, but you can leave as many messages as you want. For that 7 days, we will chat that way. I think it could be very helpful. This 7-day trial is not going to include a custom training program or actual FaceTime coaching as do my normal training offers, just because, again, that's not going to be feasible with such a short time frame or a free training offer, to be transparent with you. But having me right there in your pocket on your cell phone, I think is going to be very helpful, because if you have any burning questions, if you want me to support you verbally throughout a week of training, I can absolutely do that. So if you're listening and that sounds like something intriguing for you, all you have to do right now is email me harris@coachedbyharris.com with the subject line 7-day free coaching trial. Okay? This is going to be, again, the beginning of me offering something like this. No strings attached. You don't have to put any credit card info in. All you have to do is follow the basic email steps. We'll grab each other on WhatsApp and we'll go for it, okay? Now let's get to the episode. Today's topic is about, as I said, what we don't like to talk about, and that is warming up. I want to define, first of all, what warming up really means, because I think a lot of people have different ideas of what that can look like, and for good reason. You know, all warm-ups can be different. The common idea of a warm-up is running on the treadmill for a couple minutes before your workout, or doing some light static shoulder stretches. You know, the ones you can imagine from gym class back in the day, where you reach across your chest with your arm, you sit on the floor and touch your toes, that kind of stuff. That stuff is not what I'm talking about when I talk about warming up, okay? Warming up, preparation for real, intense, challenging training requires you to simulate the movements and the effort levels that you want to go for on a given day. All right. This is another part of why I think warming up is misunderstood. Because when we think of the traditional warm up, again, the light run, the light stretch, we have been told that it is simply and only a means of preventing injury. And first of all, again, that's another misconception that we need to clear up. You can't actually prevent injury. You can mitigate injury, right? You can make it less likely that you become injured, but it is impossible to fully prevent it. So we typically skip warm-ups because we think, you know what, I feel good today. I got a good night's sleep. You know, I had a salad for breakfast, whatever it is. I'm feeling healthy. I'm feeling strong. I feel energized. I don't need to warm up because I don't think I'm going to get injured. And while maybe that is true, maybe you feel a little bit better today than normal, you absolutely can still get injured if you don't train the warm-up, but it's also going to affect your workout, okay? This is what I want to stick on for the main portion of today. When we look at warm-ups from a passive defensive side, we're not motivated to do them. What I mean is when we look at them from something we should do if we don't want something bad to happen, right? We don't necessarily get drawn to that as much. But when we look at a warm-up from an offensive side, something that can, in the moment, make a seriously positive impact on the training that we are about to embark on, that can be a hell of a lot more exciting. This is exactly what I talk about with my clients. Don't view warming up as something that you have to do because it is mandatory or because someone said so. View it as a massive, massive opportunity to seriously impact the performance for that day, which in turn will impact the physical, mental, all results that you get out of your training. When you train, when you do heavy weightlifting, heavy conditioning, heavy intense exercise, your nervous system needs to be prepared for that. Your nervous system, in a very general sense, is kind of the governing body for your body, right? It's the thing that dictates your movements, your actions, right? A lot of processes in your body. When your nervous system is slow and shut down, so to speak, right, and it's not prepared for intensity, it's going to be shocked when you jump into heavy lifting or heavy sprinting or heavy training, which means, one, again, the injury is more likely. That's what we talked about earlier. But two, you are not going to get the most out of your training. You're not going to be able to lift the heaviest weight, run the fastest possible, or move with as much intensity as you would if your nervous system was primed, prepared properly. Okay? So now we have to talk about what a proper warm-up consists of. I'm not going to give you an end-all be-all here or an exact template to follow, right? Because it's going to depend on what you're doing in your background. Once again, a not so shameless plug back to that 7-day free trial of coaching. If you do that, if you sign up with me for that 7 days and you tell me about your situation, I can give you a specific warm-up based on what you're going through, all right? But all proper warm-ups need to, one, get blood flowing throughout the entire body, right? More the traditional sense that we imagine. Some kind of full body movement that gets blood flowing through all of the areas, okay? Two, we need to get the muscles activated. Again, that's a little bit of a buzzword, activation, but it's true, right? We don't want our muscles just relaxed from the entire day that we've had. We want the muscles in all of the areas that we're going to train and really the entire body to be alert, to be ready to understand that we're about to put load and resistance on them. Same thing with the joints, right? We don't want our joints completely untouched for the day, right? We want the joints, the muscles, everything to understand that we're going to have a load on it so it's safer and so we can perform at higher levels. Finally, and this is my favorite part to talk about, this is something that almost nobody that hasn't experienced this stuff really understands or thinks about, but it's my favorite thing to help clients implement because one, it is very quick. It is the quickest part of the warm-up. It can take literally 10 seconds, but it is incredibly impactful. I like to finish every warm-up with a primer specifically for the nervous system. Something short, extremely fast, and explosive that is going to tell your body and your brain that I'm not just a little bit ready, not just medium ready, but I am 100% ready to move as fast and aggressively as possible. And let's take a quick digression here because this is important. If you're listening right now and you're going, but why do I need to move fast and aggressive? I just want to lose weight, or I just want to get a six-pack, or I just want to lift a little bit more. First of all, you can do whatever you want. You can train however you want to. But if you want to lose the weight or gain the muscle or get the strength or whatever your goal is in the most efficient way possible, you want to have as much of your strength and abilities present as possible when you do anything, right? No matter what the goal is, if you are in a moment doing a set of an exercise, you obviously want to be at the best you can be. That doesn't mean you're always going to failure, going to max effort, but you want your body to be at the best strength and ability that it can be at in that moment. And the best way that you can achieve that through the end of your warm-up is by doing something explosive. All right? If you're thinking, what does explosive look like? Am I ready for that? Everybody can do powerful explosive movements based on your entire back history, your movement history, all of those factors, right? We're going to decide what makes sense for you. But a very simple thing is if you're in a gym, medicine ball slams. I love medicine ball slam variations. Be very careful with this, not the medicine ball that is going to shoot back up and hit you in the face, because I've heard horror stories there, not the hard ball, but the squishy one that kind of just bounces off the ground a little bit or completely sits down, right? You're going to reach overhead, slam the ball down as hard as you can, full body, and do 5 to 10 of those. Another option, and this is, again, if you are more advanced or more comfortable with impact, note that disclaimer, you need to be ready for this. Jump variations, box jumps, side-to-side jumps, broad jumps forward, right? Sprints even if you have the space and the ability. Or on the lower end, right, if you've had any injuries or issues, or maybe you're not ready for any of these more full body things, right, is you can do just little medium throws. For example, if you have the medicine ball on a hard wall, you can do chest passes at the wall. You can throw the ball to a partner, right? Again, I could visually show you this a little bit better than verbally, but you get the idea. Something that is 5 to 10 reps tops, takes a very quick amount of time, and is explosive. In the description below, I will link to you to one of my quick YouTube videos where I demo something called the snap down. That's possibly my favorite explosive exercise that you can do anywhere because you don't need equipment. It's like a medicine ball slam, but it's just body weight, right? That's enough of that specific piece, but you get the idea. So all of those factors are important. I don't want this to sound like a lot because all of this can actually be done in 5 to 10 minutes. That's a really good window for an effective warm-up. Here's an example. Verbally, I'll walk you through it of what a great warm-up can look like. Again, 5 to 10 minutes. If you have gym access, this stuff will work. If you don't, you could do most of this stuff or get creative and adjust, right? I like to start off usually with something that is going to do the blood flow part of the warm-up, okay? So for example, 60 seconds of jumping jacks. If jumping's an issue for you, you could do 60 seconds of mountain climbers on the floor. You could walk for a minute. You could go on the treadmill for a minute, right? The basic stuff just to get the heart rate moving. Then something I call the world's greatest stretch. Again, you can just Google this or you can look it up on my YouTube, but you'll basically be in a half kneeling position, right? Like you're taking a knee on the floor. One hand will be down on the ground. So if your left foot is on the floor, your right hand will be down. And you're just going to kind of reach the free hand through the gap and then rotate up to the ceiling, right? Like you're kind of doing a yoga movement. That's going to give you a really nice mobility flow. It's going to allow you to take some time to find your breathing, and it's going to be helpful. So heart rate, blood flow, breathing, kind of recentering in the beginning. Next up, we want to start to address actual movements that we might do in a session, right? More full body stuff. So you're going to do some squats. Squats are a great example. Bodyweight squats, if you have a little bit of weight, like a light dumbbell or kettlebell, you could do 10 to 20 of those. Again, moving explosively, getting the movements prepared that we want to do for the actual workout. If you're going to do a deadlift session, for example, you could do some light kettlebell deadlifts, right? Get that motion prepared. There's a lot of options. Again, what I'm saying right now, I don't want you to take it exactly word for word because it's going to depend on so many factors, but you get the idea. The next thing you could do is some farmer carries, right? Hold a pair of heavy dumbbells or kettlebells in your hand, go for a walk for 30 to 60 seconds. You're not trying to get fatigued here, but you want to get the grip strength going. You want to get your core stabilized, get your body used to having some load on the joints, right? That's a very simple and easy example. Finally, again, medicine ball slams or the jumps or the snap downs, anything explosive. Another way to visualize this is you're going to have a very gradual ascension of intensity with the warm-up. You're going to start with breathing, with mobility, with resetting, right? After you get the heart rate going a little bit in the blood flow. Then you're going to start to speed it up a little bit and start to do some movements, some squats, maybe some deadlifts, right? Maybe even some push-ups. Prepare the actual movement patterns. And then you're going to finish with that explosive, quick burst of energy. Okay? So that's all we're going to talk about for today. Again, this is not an all-inclusive episode. I could go on and on and on, give you more details here, but I want this to be motivating above all else. My goal for you right now, if you're still listening, which you clearly are if you're hearing me, is to be excited by the warm-up. Why? Because it's not just a way to mitigate against injury and this passive thing, but it is a way to instantly, I'm talking, you will notice a drastic difference if you do this properly. Instantly improve the strength, the reps, the weight, the speed, the performance of your workout immediately to follow, which, like building a wall of bricks, if you brick by brick layer better and more productive workouts, you will have better results. Okay? You will feel better day to day, and you will help mitigate against injury, which is obviously always nice because injury sucks. And if you're injured, you can't train as hard. So I hope that is enough. I think that's enough for you. If you have questions on this, like I said, I would love to dive deeper. You can join my email list if you want to just chat in a general sense. Information's below in the description. Or if you want to take me up on what I think is an awesome offer because there's no strings attached and it's going to be very helpful if you need it. 7-day free voice fitness coaching, right? Done through WhatsApp and email. All you have to do right now is just email me, harris@coachbyharris.com, with the subject line that I mentioned earlier, and we can chat about it. In the future, again, I will have pages built for this. I'll have links ready to go, and you'll be able to a little bit more smoothly jump on here. But right now, if you're listening and you like what you hear, I'd be happy to work with you for a week, and we'll go from there. All right. Thank you so much for listening. As always, I will talk to you in the next episode.